What is your position on that now, Senator? Has it changed at all?
Well, I did Chris Cuomo's show last night, and here's what I told Chris, the truth. Chris Wallace is a damn good reporter. He asked me a very direct question. He asked me about hacking the DNC computer. I heard him say, I thought he'd said, meddling in the election. Chris was right. I was wrong. So let me be clear. Russia hacked the DNC computer. I have no evidence whatsoever that Ukraine did it.
Because hacking the election sounds so similar. What was that? That was Senator Kennedy's third attempt to get something right that every single one of our intelligence agencies agreed upon. Russia hacked the DNC as part of its efforts to undermine and meddle and attack our last presidential election. It's not just the senator, though, sowing seeds of doubt. Just last night, Donald Trump's favorite news network took Putin's side over U.S. ally. Here's Tucker Carlson with a comment so outrageous, even he had to address it at the end of his show.
Why do I care what's going on in the conflict between Ukraine and Russia? And I'm serious. Like, why do I care?
I'll tell you why.
And why shouldn't I root for Russia, which I am?
They're the front lines of stopping Russia against Western Europe.
Who cares?
Well, okay, I think the people in Western Europe, NATO cares. You may not. I think a lot of
I don't live in Western Europe. I live in D.C., and I don't care. Before we go, earlier in the show, I noted that I was rooting for Russia in the contest between Russia and Ukraine. And, of course, I'm joking. I'm only rooting for America. Mocking the obsession with Russia that so many on the left have.
Oh, you're being funny for the first time ever. I see. Joining our conversation, foreign affairs journalist Elise Labott. Elise, it's, I mean, that's fine, I guess. I mean, he's speaking to, and he's in on a joke with his viewers. And he thinks it's funny to play with democracies, but they don't think it's funny. And one thing that came through from 2 weeks of testimony is that we were toying with a country at war. This wasn't just extorting a U.S. ally and a pile of foreign aid that would be humanitarian in nature, that would save lives of children, or I mean, which is also disgusting and reprehensible. This was toying with military aid for a country at war.
That's right. I mean, the comment that Tucker Carlson made kind of reminded me of when President Bush was mocking John McCain and said, I like people who weren't captured. I mean,
Trump, President Trump.
Oh
Candidate Trump.
Sorry. So, but at the same time, I mean, look, it's not just people like Tucker Carlson or Senator Kennedy. What's really bothersome is this whole litany of Republicans now that are buying this, what Fiona Hill called a Russian disinformation campaign about Ukraine. And Lindsey Graham now has even written Secretary Pompeo and looking for documents to prove that. When we've seen Lindsey Graham kind of move over to Trump, but when someone like that, who was talking about Russia as the biggest threat to the United States, now taking this Russian disinformation side, that's really concerning.
And here's the American Secretary of State for the time being on these issues.
Do you believe that the U.S. and Ukraine should investigate the theory that it was Ukraine and not Russia that hacked the DNC emails in 2016?
Anytime there is information that indicates that any country has messed with American elections, we not only have a right but a duty to make sure we chase that down.
So it was chased down, it was investigated, and here was the conclusion about the veracity of that theory from someone who was once in the cabinet with Mike Pompeo, Donald Trump's former Homeland Security advisor, Tom Bossert.
It is not only a conspiracy theory, it is completely debunked. At this point, I am deeply frustrated with what he and the legal team is doing and repeating that debunked theory to the president. It sticks in his mind when he hears it over and over again. And for clarity here, George, let me just again repeat that it has no validity. If he continues to focus on that white whale, it's going to bring him down. Enough.
And let's leave for another day conversations about white whales and sticking in his mind and the incapacity to process or decipher real information from fake. And just talk about the fact that at the highest levels of the Trump cabinet, they tried to disavow Donald Trump of his belief and adherence to a conspiracy theory.
And at the same time, Secretary Pompeo, let's just go back to his confirmation when he was talking about Russia and hacking of the DNC and everything that he said before that up until now. I mean, you just have to compare the two. He knows it's not true. And he knows that everyone knows that he knows. And he does not care. This kind of toxic mix of fear and loyalty and, desire not to get in the crosshairs of President Trump is enough to make people just lie and admit that, they've said other things in the past, but now they've seen the light. They've gotten religion, no pun intended.
The irony, of course, is that people like Tucker Carlson are, present themselves as the most stalwart defenders of lowercase d democratic values, right? They go on every night talking about their appreciation for the constitutional republic and democracy, and then they basically whitewash Russia's role in directly attacking those values. And the truth then comes out that they don't really care about those values. They care about political power. And if Russia helps, them maintain that political power, then so be it.
It's unbelievable. All right, when we come back, the fallout from Donald Trump's disregard for the chain of command inside the military. That remarkable story next.